Hello and a very warm welcome back to the TNC Podcast, the number one podcast following the mid-table mediocre Norwich City. The Canaries are 12th in the division, exactly middle of the table, Chris Reeve.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Are you in festive spirits?
I was feeling fairly festive until QPR, then Pompey, then Burnley.
Nothing quite puts you in the Christmas mood like a 0-0 at Fratton Park.
Yeah, it's not been ideal. I don't think the HMS Pistol League hats are coming on anytime soon, Jack Reeve.
The only positive of what's been a fairly disappointing week for Norwich City is that hopefully it kind of submerges your arrogance, because you're like, oh, we'll beat them 4-0. Oh, Pompey, yeah, stuff them 6-0. And then my Twitter mentions get full of haters from Portsmouth fans because of you.
Right. I'll respond. I'll go back to Pompey. Right, back to your arrogance point. Right, be very careful with how you communicate with me on this podcast, because I've been ill.
Right,
I've been ill. I'm a bit tetchy. I'm quite tired.
It sounds like you've just seen some normal life.
I'm not in the Christmas spirit. Right.
Oh, sorry.
So be very careful. Right. I stand by. Yes, it is. I stand by my points. Out of those last batch of 4 before the Burnley game, we should have won all 4 of them, right? And the fact that we did what we did against QPR and Portsmouth.
QPR in good form at the moment.
Fuck
Portsmouth
that.
have just beaten Bristol City 2-0.
I had fucking Portsmouth fans saying, "Oh, you call us the dog shit of the league." You are the dog shit of the league. And actually, I'm admitting that we drew to the dog shit of the league. Yes, I'm doubling down on it. Like, I don't care. Like, you call us the dog shit of the league. Yeah, you are the dog shit of the league.
I thought you might come on and apologise.
And that says a lot about the way that Norwich City performed at Fratton Park.
We were better.
Let's change this to a positive.
Okay.
We've had some fan mail, Jack.
Fan mail?
From a young Ivy, who has sent in to us, and you won't be able to see this on camera very well.
Well, if you're listening, I mean, you're absolutely true.
She sent in a lovely little illustrated moving canary bird.
That's wonderful.
And I was very, very grateful for this. So, Ivy, thank you very much for cheering me up after a few miserable results.
And not very realistic, though, as this canary's smiling.
Yeah, he should be frowning after that.
This is classic school crafting. I love it. The sort of the moving wings.
I like the creativity.
Yeah.
And maybe Johannes Hofturup could learn a bit from Ivy here, right? Sometimes you have to show a bit of extra creativity, mix it up to get a result. Thanks so much, Ivy.
Fan mail. Well, there's a first for everything. And, this isn't a first. Black Dog Teas, still going.
Yeah. Cool. I tell you what, I've been really sticking that into me over the last few days.
I can tell that you've been getting through the Lancty Mouth Feng, because there's not much of that left.
No, I know.
We might need to reorder.
Yeah.
And you can do 10% off.
Where? Online?
Yeah, online. Or click and collect.
Yeah.
Or just go in the shop at Biddy's Tea Rooms.
Biddy's Tea Rooms.
And just absolutely clean them out.
So, speaking of cleaning things out, Norwich City 2 Burn... I wish it was...
didn't win.
Norwich City 1 Burnley 2.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Jack Reeve? Come on.
I think it was the first... So, at Carrow Road this season, we've either won really convincingly...
Yeah.
Or we've had like hard-earned draws against, like, I'm thinking Leeds and Sheffield United.
Okay.
They stick out. And then sort of Bristol City, when we got beat, we were just beaten convincingly.
So you're going through every single option.
This was the first time I've walked away from Carrow Road this season going, oh, that was really frustrating, because...
First time? Did you go to the Bristol City game?
No, but that was just like, there's loads of injuries. We were well beaten. We were never really in that game.
Okay.
For this game, I was like, oh, that's really annoying.
Felt like points dropped for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Burnley, we knew what we were going to get with Burnley, and that's exactly what we got. Very, didn't create much, didn't give up much, just solid. Very different from the Vincent Kompany Burnley that kind of just swept everyone away the last time they got promoted. This is a well-drilled side. It was quite fun watching Jay Rodriguez up front at 35 years old, trying to sort of to close our defenders down. But they were solid. I thought they did enough. They weren't anything special.
I'm going to disagree with you. I've got to disagree with you straight away. Right? And this is what makes it frustrating. And I think you'll agree with me. You say they were organised, right? But actually, they were an absolute bin fire in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that people will go, yeah, but it's not all about the first 15 minutes, Chris. But we get that first goal, which we're going to speak about specifically in a minute because it was a brilliant, brilliant corner kick. But as soon as that first goes in, they almost score an absolutely glorious own goal. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Trafford, who, by the way, was absolutely monumental.
It was good, yeah.
Who managed to get back to clear it off the line, it would have been 2-0. And I think then Norwich City go and win that 3 or 4-0, genuinely.
I think that's the sign of a good team. You're right. For the first, For the first 15, they were poor, but they just managed to kind of navigate their way through that. Yeah. I feel as if that's Norwich, and we're poor for the first 20. You're 3-0 down, and it's game over. Yeah. They just managed to just do enough to find their way through, and then actually, for the second half, I thought they were by far the better team.
You can just tell you thought, but they actually weren't, because if you look at the stats, everything they did statistically was less than Norwich City. Less possession, less shots on target. They had 5, we had 6. They were more clinical,
efficiency.
And the quality showed. Yeah, the quality showed. And this is it. Like when you've got a player, when you've signed a player from Manchester United that comes on as a substitute in Hannibal, for example.
Just a great name as well.
When you've got Sarriamento, whatever the geezer's name is, that was at Scum last season. You know, whether we like it or not, he's a good quality player, right? And so that's what we're contending with. But Norwich City did contend with it, Jack. And I was on Canary Call at the weekend, and I have to say, I actually don't feel as frustrated about that as maybe seemingly you or other people, because I looked at that and I thought, right, we've just had an absolute shit show against QPR, and I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but it was so bloody bad. Then we've had to grind one out against Pompey, right? Yeah. That neither of those performances are anywhere near Hofball, right? No. So if you've just ground one out against Pompey away, you can't just go from 0 to 100 miles an hour Hofball again. You can't do it. It's not realistic. So I actually looked at that and I thought, actually, for large spells of that game, I saw good patterns of play. I tell you what we were brilliant at against Burnley is we invited on the press. And I'm really sorry to sound like a football hipster. I've maybe swallowed a football hipster pill over the weekend. But I actually, from the position that I was in the gantry, the very fortunate position in the gantry, rather than the lower Barclay, where I can't really see at ground level the tactics and the shape and things like that. When you're up high, and perhaps other people in the ground can appreciate this, so let us know in the comments if you can kind of see it from a higher vantage point. The way that we just invited on the press, and don't get me wrong, the Carrow Road faithful don't like it. And I must admit, my heart goes crazy as well when I'm in the lower Barclay and we're playing it about the 6-yard box. And there was one point where Burnley, off a Norwich City goal kick, had 5 Burnley players in the box trying to press us, forcing a mistake. And I can hear Norwich fans saying, well, it works because we give it away. Well, some of the time it does, right? And we pay the price for that. But actually, in large spells outside of that, they did it very well. Yeah. I thought Jose Cordoba was calm, composed. I actually thought the way that they played it about our box to then create so much space in midfield was brilliant. And I'm just going to add in an extra point here. Surprisingly, I don't think we missed Kenny McLean as much as I thought of the weekend, which is a positive. Because, yes, we still lost, so that statistic goes on. Is it now 21 games? It's
not good, whatever it
Whenever we, basically, I think it's something like we haven't won in 21 games when Kenny McLean's not been playing or something like that. This is a genuine stat, by the way. Go and search it, and yeah, it is a thing. So, although we didn't achieve it, I was thinking, fucking hell, we've been punched in the teeth with that Kenny McLean ban, and it was a punch in the teeth. But we didn't miss him as much as I thought we were going to, despite the fact that we came up against a quality opposition, and that shows that Hoff got the midfield balance right. Sorry, I'm meandering all over the place. Oscar Schwartau, we're going to speak about him in a bit. Should we talk about Jose Cordova?
Just to jump onto the back of it.
Come on.
For the first time in a long while, I agree with everything you've said there.
Wow.
I thought we were really good. I thought they were real clear patterns of play. I agree with you. The way that we kind of drew in the Burnley and then hit quick was really impressive. And ultimately, I go back to the point that I raised when we were going through that really horrible spell when we had loads of injuries, where the most boring thing that I can possibly say, I think, is the right thing to say, where I think just this whole thing is solved with time. For me, the only difference between the two teams yesterday was the quality that we could bring off the bench. And actually, I think the only area where we did miss Kenny McLean was from 60 minutes on, where you look at, Nunez was shattered, Slimane was shattered.
He was.
But you haven't got another central midfielder to bring on. That's where you miss Kenny McLean.
Yeah, I agree.
So ultimately, I think the only difference was the ability that you had off the bench. We finished that game with a front three of Ashley Barnes, Shane Duffy, and Onel Hernandez.
Yeah.
Now, that's no disrespect to any of those players. But for a team wanting to chase the top six, that's not a suitable front three in the 90th minute of a game. And that isn't no one's fault.
Yeah.
That is the issue of recruitment over a number of years. That's the issue of a transition season. That will be different in a year's time.
Yes.
But at the moment, that's what we've got to deal with.
Yes. I agree, Jack. What my gut is saying currently is that, and I don't blame anyone for thinking this, and I've thought about it as well, like this. I believe that Norwich City fans are viewing this current Norwich City situation with the glasses on of a old former Norwich City, right? So we have to remember now that the Atanasios are truly at the top of the tree, right? They have the authority now to actually invest in this club and move it forwards. They didn't before, right? Everything had to go through Dina and Michael. So that's a positive. Ben Napper now, he's had, how many windows has he had now? I think two. Last summer. But last summer, was that not still under Stuart Webber? Was he not shadowing Stuart or something, right?
I think that was the weird sort of
So he's had
role,
January, which is January's notoriously really poor. He's going to have another January window, which is expensive. That's pretty well known as well. But my point is, I believe now that we can move forwards, that we can buy into this being a genuine transition. Speaking about this on Canary Call, the other thing which is maybe hard for people to hear, including myself, by the way, I class myself as a bit of an old-fashioned football fan, right? When someone says, when you say, it's just a season of rebuilding. Hang on a fucking minute, look at the rest of this shit in this league. And it is shit, isn't it? Come on, let's be honest. Most of the teams in this league are shit. They are, right? And yes, that says a lot about how we're playing at the moment, right? So I get that, and sometimes I'm on the side of the fence of what I've just said. They're all fucking shit. We should be winning games of football, right? No excuses with the team that we've got. But I do believe that there is something in this talk of transition, but I don't think fans are willing to. Like, there was lots of talk at the start of the season of, it's a transition. We're under Johannesov Torp's at the wheel. Here we go. But they're not willing to feel the pain and pay the price of a genuine transition. And we are now going through a genuine transition where in January we're going to cull players, and in the summer, well, bloody hell, I mean, I could see us losing at least 7 players. That's actually pretty unheard of, really.
I disagree slightly. I think there is a feeling of patience. I think there is an acceptance that Norwich fans are willing to be patient.
But there's also, I agree, but that's not the majority. I think I think at least half of the Norwich fans now, from what I've observed over the last 3-4 games, it feels like to me 50% of the Norwich fans are like, bloody hell, come on, like we should still be doing better.
Yeah.
Whereas 50% are like maybe a bit more like you, a bit calmer, a bit like, oh, this is a transition, it's okay, it'll take time. And by the way, I understand both sides of the fence. I really, really can.
I think it's an interesting one. Look, Norwich have won 2 games in 12. Like, that's not very good.
Well, it's awful for them.
There's huge kind of context to wrap around all of that. I just think a lot of when we've been good, we've been really good, and it's been convincing. And actually, the games we've lost have been really fine margins. I look back to Swansea away, lost 1-0, should have won that. Cardiff away, we're winning in the 90th minute.
Unlike
Sheffield Wednesday, loads of injuries. Preston away, loads of injuries. Actually, if you win those, and you get a point against Burnley, and you don't lose to Bristol City, I know it's like, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Correct.
But they have been fine margins, and we're not far from the top 6. Like we've proven against Leeds and Sheffield United.
I agree with that.
And we've beaten Watford, who are near the top 6 convincingly. We're close. it's just, we're kind of finding our way and we're finding our feet. I thought the interesting thing was, so I was at QPR, we got battered, we were rubbish. The consensus leaving there was, right, we need to just shut up shop and just don't lose to Portsmouth. So that's exactly what we do, and it was ugly and it was gritty, but we did enough and we got a bit of luck. And then everyone was like, oh, I don't want to see us play like that again. It was like, no, neither does Johannes. The players didn't enjoy that.
Yeah, there was a lot of bedwetting over that.
There's often just times when you need to dig in and you need to do it ugly, and I think that's what we did. And that's kind of what made the Burnley game even more frustrating. Was the football was good, we dug in, and we just fell short. And that's tough to take.
I agree, and it is just falling short. Short because last season under David Wagner, if we were going to lose, you knew it. I mean, there's the only game this season that I can remember. Please remind me if I've forgotten a few where there was like, this is done, was Bristol City. There was
home games.
In a month of Sundays, we were never, ever, 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 ever going to do anything in that game, right? Yeah. But for the majority, you're right, it's fine margins. However, there's a quote from Johannes Turp I'm going to read now, and I want to get your reaction to this, right? With regards to where we're at, and perhaps Johannes has almost had a bit of a reality check himself off the back of the QPR Portsmouth game, and now obviously this Burnley home game, regarding what you said about the squad depth.
Yeah.
So let's hear this. Yeah. Our ambition is to be one of the best teams in the league, but as we can see at the moment, it will probably not be within the short future here. It will be something we need to build and something we need to create. But I can see that the patterns are there, and I can see that the good moments are there. So I think the telling point from this, Jack, personally, is the line about it will probably not be within the short future here. So I think Johannes has looked at how his team did against QPR, against Portsmouth, and now Burnley at home, and he's gone, I need some help here. And I do almost wonder whether Johannes is almost potentially, and I don't think there's anything in this, but it's worth talking about. I wonder if Johannes is trying to send a message there to the board.
Yeah, I think so.
And say, look, fucking hell, guys, I need some help here because I haven't got much to bring off the bench to try and actually change a game of football in the minute.
Well, I'm glad you said that because, I was just looking at, and I kind of penned the lack of depth off the bench. And actually, the worrying thing is this is probably the strongest the bench has looked for a few months because of the injuries.
Sure.
So, Norwich were, let's say, 1-0 up after 60 minutes. They're looking to get some fresh legs. Okay, who can we turn to? Jack Stacey.
Yeah.
Okay, right back.
Yeah.
Good option, but he's a right back.
Yeah.
Onel Hernandez actually, delivered some good crosses, but isn't going to change the kind of middle of the park. Ashley Barnes, 35 years old.
Yeah.
Cade
Not played
Gordon.
much football, just been injured.
Cade Gordon.
Right. Pause. I need to talk about Cade Gordon.
Wasn't great, was he?
What?
Is that just down to lack of game time? Was he just confused when he came on?
Oh. But I have to be careful here because we're talking about a young player. What on earth has gone on there?
Wasn't great, was he?
No.
He's going back.
But don't glaze over it. Point number one, I'd really like to know, like, why did we bring him in? Because if he's had hear me out, he's had a year and a half injured, okay? That's a risk. Actually, I already know the reason. I've just remembered, forgive me. We wanted Ben Doak, who's at Middlesbrough, who, by the way, is a fucking player, right? And then we wanted someone else, and then we've ended up with Cade Gordon. So I get the fact it was a bit of a last-minute thing. I get that. A year and a half injured, and you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. He's not match sharp. I think that's the way I'll be polite on it. But he came on against Burnley.
He was rubbish. Anyway, he's not the issue.
No. He's not the issue. Yeah. But he's not the issue. That's so important to say. But actually, Jack, issues or challenges or areas of that are problematic like that are at that level, But actually, if there's multiple ones of those, it really stacks up.
And I think that is just a general feeling off the bench. The other substitute we brought on was Ben Crescene. And it's like, okay, so we brought on a right back and a left back, a 35-year-old striker, Onel Hernandez and Cade Gordon. The other options were Fortuna Mankwa, Grant Hanley, Brad Hills and George Locke.
And this is where I stand with Johannes Turp, and this is like completely actually, and why I've been disappointed with some of the criticism of Johannes. I really feel for him, because the cards that he's got to play at the moment they're not strong enough. I don't think they're strong enough. Of course, there's been times this season where we've gone, that's on you, Johannes. Maybe 2 or 3 times tops, but he's even said that himself. So, but against Burnley,
I think the pleasing thing for me was there were structures in the play.
Yes.
The 2 Burnley goals. The first one's an interesting one because
let's talk about the Burnley goals.
Johannes said he was gutted that the 2 nearest players in Ante Sinats and Marcelino Nunes at time of the free kick being taken were looking the other way. I mean, that's not great, but
agreed.
It's a stunning strike from Fleming from 25, 30 yards, top bins, gun can do nothing. It's one of those where you go, we could have defended it a bit better, but good strike.
You know me, Jack. What have I always said on this podcast, right? If you're going to lose a game of football to a goal, and people will say this within the game, say you almost allow shots from outside that box, like not in the manner that we did, by the way.
No.
But if you're going to shoot from outside the box from there, you go, come on then, have a go.
1 in 50 flies in.
Right, so it was a brilliant strike. However, I do totally understand where you're coming from about the fact that we weren't switched on.
Yeah.
And Nick Stanley and the coaching staff will be furious with the fact that we switched off. It was a brilliant strike, but the second one,
the second's disappointing because Norwich. So that goes. The first goal goes in the 68th minute. The bounce back from Norwich was actually quite good. We were back on the front foot.
Yes.
We had a good chance. Well, a good progressive chance. Borja Sainz picks the ball up on halfway.
Yeah, we were breaking
it's a
really well.
3-on-3.
Yeah.
He's got, I think, Marcondes to his right, and I think it's Sinats to his left. Borja tries the nutmeg, and I think it's against, is it Cullen? I think it was Cullen.
I don't remember.
Cullen.
Right.
He makes the tackle, and you go, oh, that's a chance. They break. Header from Fisher falls to the feet of Brownhill. Callum Doyle is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
Good finish from Brownhill. Could Angus Gunn do better? It was just a goal where you go, that was poor from Norwich. That was really poor.
Poor from everyone.
Yeah.
Poor from everyone. Borja absolutely should have found a pass. He'll know that. Angus will say he probably could have done better as well. The defence. The only one that I'd stand up for is I feel a bit for Kellen. I don't think Kellen could have really done much more there. He just had to get something on it, right? I don't think he could have done much more there. And by the way, actually, I want to talk about Kellen, actually.
He was good.
Great, great to see Kellen Fisher back starting. It was the right decision from Johannes Turp to start him. I thought he looked brilliant. You can really see the way that he slips inside. Jack Stacey doesn't move inside like Kellen does, and I was very impressed with Kellen Fisher. I thought that, and by the way, there was at least two Kellen crunches down by the south stand, which were just absolutely brilliant, and they get the crowd up. And people say, "Well, Chris, what does that mean? That's just passion." How dare you? How dare you? That is the kind of thing that can change a game.
He was good.
A Kellen crunch gets the crowd up, and all of a sudden, a chant starts. The players work off that energy, and then we break, right?
He's very cultured, Kellen. He's very good with the ball at his feet. He can defend well. He can get up and down the pitch. You know, Stacey has been great since he's come in.
Yes, I agree.
His energy up and down.
Yes, I agree.
Got a few assists, but I think Kellen has more on the ball than Jack. I think he's got an ability to find the pass, come inside. I just wanted a quick word on Angus Gunn because there's talk around his contract situation. Will he be here next season?
Yeah.
There's been lots of chatter. I've been disappointed with Angus in recent weeks. Look, I love Angus. I think he's Norwich boy. I think he's been brilliant for us. QPR, he was poor. I think 2 of the goals he should have saved. Look, Burnley, whether the second was here or there, but there was an interesting stat that I read on Twitter.
Right, come on then.
Last season, Angus Gunn, so if we're talking about XG, which I know but that's the metric we're going to use here.
Okay, come on.
He basically prevented 5 goals more than he was expected to.
Okay.
So he overperformed by 5 goals.
Right, with you, yeah.
This season, he's conceded nearly 6 more than he was expected to.
Right, okay.
So that's a big drop off. And there's something about Angus where I've just, let's take the stats.
Okay.
You've got your little sprinkling of stats.
Okay.
Let's go to the other side. Just passion.
But by the way, facts don't care about feelings.
Yeah.
So
that's a drop off.
Let's not discredit the stats.
I've just, when he used to concede a goal and he'd be absolutely fuming and he'd be screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
I've not seen that this season.
Okay.
I've
not noticed that.
I've just looked at him. I've gone. There's something amiss.
Well,
and that makes me a bit sad.
Yeah, makes me sad too. First of all, I think we have to add this caveat, of course, as always. Goalkeeper's your last line of defence. It's defence in front of you. What about the midfield? All the injuries, inviting the play on, the way that the whole team.
I'm certainly not blaming the Burnley game on him.
The whole team's been shit, yada, yada, yada. I don't want people to think I'm being biased here, right? I understand the fact that Angus, and he'll know he could have done better. I get that, right? At the same time, we have to recognise the elephant that's not an elephant in the room is the contract situation. So you talk about what's missing. You talk about maybe confidence. Well, you know the club haven't given you a contract to sign. The club have not started contractual talks with you, right? And then you're going out at the weekend trying to play a game of football, but in the back of your mind, you know, at the minute, Angus might be thinking, keyword, I haven't spoken to him about this, he might be thinking, well, the club don't want me next season. So how does that impact your performance? Now the other side of the fence, to be balanced weirdly on the TalkNorwichCity podcast, is people say, well, he's a professional footballer, it doesn't matter. He earns a lot of money and regardless, he should be da-da-da-da. I think there's something in that. And by the way, this isn't just an Angus Gunn thing. What about Ashley Barnes? Same thing. What about Anel Hernandez? What about all those players?
There'll be a lot of players going, my future's probably not here.
I don't know. And I don't know whether that impacts you or not. For me, I'm still standing by it, by Angus.
Oh, yeah,
I think the team performances have been absolutely nowhere near it. And I still think Angus is a very, very, very good goalkeeper. And by the way, he'll be absolutely fine. He'll be. If Norwich don't give him a contract, he'll be at another really, really good club next. Tell you that for free. First question of this Talk Norwich City podcast is from Anel Hernandez right peg handle at Gabby the Goat 17. Question: how much XP expected passion did Jose Cordoba gain from the punch towards the Regency? Well, if you look on the Talk Norwich City social media accounts, you'll see that Jose Cordoba's celebration, I mean, the passion was overflowing, and no wonder. Did you know, right? And Chris Gorham said this to me at the time at halftime. So, according to my research, that is his first ever goal, ever in senior football anywhere, any of his clubs. And you could tell, and that was why the passion was overflowing. It was a brilliant header, wasn't it, Jack?
Well, it was nice to see us succeed at a set piece. I mean, it was a nice ball from Nunes, lovely header. You go, hang on a minute, we're 60 seconds in and we've mastered set pieces.
Yeah.
So that was pleasing. Look, pleased for Cordoba. He is I still don't think he's not the finished product, obviously. He's very young, but he's the type of player we need in if we want Hofball to succeed. He's a ball-playing centre-back. He's strong. Yeah. He's quick.
He's physical.
Strong.
He's so strong.
I really like watching Cordoba play. He's got a mistake in him, but that's because he's always looking for the progressive pass. And I think he'll learn when to take that on and when not to, and I think that will just come with experience. But he's a brilliant footballer. Yeah, love the XP we're discussing here. There was two parts of it because I think he was a bit nervous to celebrate, and then I think Duffy that just shoved him towards the Regency.
They were all beating him up, weren't they?
And he's got those long legs and he was striding towards the fans. And I'm thinking,
what's he going to do?
This could go wrong. You know, Doris from Deera might be taking a Cordoba right hook here if he's not careful. Brilliant. Yeah, it was a great start to the game. Great. It was the dream start and a lot of time for Jose. I think he's a key part of this setup.
Jose Cordoba, and to be fair, by the way, Shane Duffy has been doing this season as well, so credit to Yanisov Turret for embedding it within his centre-backs. Jose Cordoba has made me appreciate this thing, as you've said, called the progressive pass. Is that what you've called it? Specifically through the middle.
Yeah,
I fucking love that.
Yeah, it can split lines.
Love that. Yeah. Don't cock around out wide. No need to play it sideways. Sometimes get your head up, slip it down the middle.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, brilliant. Jose Cordoba, excellent, calm, composed, strong. The Prince of Panama. He's off and running in Canary colours.
This is a good one from Banners at 70s Barkley boy.
Love that.
Love that.
Cool. He'll speak some truth if he's the 70s Barkley boy.
Johannes Torp and his players are learning a lot right now. Miles off the Premier League, but give him some windows to recruit and to offload. Yeah. Can't see top 6 as we're easy to score against, but maybe top 10. That is exactly how I describe it. I think this is a learning curve for Norwich. I think the squad needs 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 transfer windows. I mean, you look at this squad, you've got David Wagner, you've got Stuart Webber, you've got, I think, probably a bit of Dean Smith in there with some of the signings in terms of the makeup of this squad.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Johannes and Ben have had like half a window to try and sculpt something here, and that's really difficult. But you look at, I thought Schwartau was brilliant at the weekend, and I love him. You look at Schwartau, you look at Cordoba,
yes.
You look at some of the other players that have been brought. Even Cianat, I thought was good and should have had a goal at the weekend.
Yes.
He scored and it was onside. So you look at the little additions, it's trending.
It will be in 2 windows that will sort it by.
Yeah, and I think I don't love these constant comparisons between this season and 2017 under Farker, but they're naturally going to be made.
But let's do that right now for a bit of perspective, which we all need in times of adversity. If you want to pick yourself up, get some perspective, right?
Yeah.
So let's get some perspective. That first season under Farker, that 4-0. Right, versus Millwall away. That was our QPR 3-0 this season, right?
But you had signs in that season of going, oh my God, we could get top 6.
Yeah.
I remember certain performances under Farker going...
Which we're having this season, right? So remember what happened that season, right? Think about where we're at. We are ahead of where we were under Farker in his first season. We are ahead of that under Johannes Torp this season. And we look like a better team. Honestly, don't let recency bias get in the way. Johannes Torp's first season is better than Daniel Farker's first season.
But
it is.
Granted, different. The way that Farker was trying to do it.
I know, mate. But I think I actually quite like the comparison because back then we were going through a big change. First foreign manager,
Stuart Webber.
Every single Norwich fan was being educated on possession-based football, like genuine possession-based football. And now we're adapting to a whole new style after having to go through Smith ball and Wagner ball. So,
look, the reason that I've been so, I have really enjoyed this season so far. I've really enjoyed it, even the defeats. I'm a bit of a romanticist when it comes to football, and I like to be taken on a journey. I like the feeling of. I remember doing a Canary call with Simon Lappin, and I kept talking about philosophy and identity, and he hated it. He was like, I just want to see Norwich win games. And I get those opinions. I really do. Some people loved Chris Hughton because we just won football matches and we didn't lose very often. I'm more of I want to be taken on a journey. I want to be taken out for dinner a few times a week. I want to be loved.
You're a needy date.
And I get that feeling.
You need to be taken out to dinner before you get wooed.
Exactly. I like the feeling of Johannes. I like Ben Napper. It's a bit, I like the journey we're going on. And it does feel, even after being at Loftus Road and even after losing to Burnley, it does feel like we are continually moving forwards. And maybe in 2 years' time, when we're sat here, slightly fatter and slightly older, we'll be going, God, Johannes Torp, what a disaster that ended up being.
No, I don't.
But I don't think we will.
No, I don't think
we will. Look, Connor Southwell said it on their podcast. The Brentford project, look at them now flying.
Yeah.
7 years they were in the Championship trying to sculpt it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't take that long because I don't want to be sat here nearing on like 40 going, oh my God, we're still here.
And actually, but it's not just...
Ashley Barnes is 42 and still playing at top.
Don't, by the way, just on that exact specific example, Johannes Torp and Thomas Franke have a relationship, right? So actually...
and granted, they've spent a lot of cash, so
I know
we need that. And Mark and Mike, if you're watching,
we need you.
To keep.
So speaking of that, Matt Gregory, I want a bit African there.
Matt
Gregory says, please sign a winger and centre forward in January. Are those the 2 priority positions? We have to talk about it, and let us know. By the way, let us know in the comments right now if you're watching this, wherever you're watching this. Where are the priority positions to sign in January? Is it a centre forward? Is it a winger? Anywhere else? Let us know.
I was thinking about this as I was recording my reflection video after but I'm really in 2 minds about January because so let's fast forward to mid-Jan, right? McLean and Sargent will be back in the fold.
Yes.
So suddenly the whole team looks different.
Well, unless Kenny snaps the guy that got him sent off against QPR, by the way.
I wouldn't put it past.
I can't wait for that game, by the way.
I just don't love the January transfer window. Like, I think you get ripped off. Ultimately, and I think Ryan Jarvis said it when you were speaking to him on Canary Call, ultimately, the players you're going to be signing in January, there's two types of players. One, you're paying too much, or two, that they're being let go for a reason, and they're not up to it. We have signed some dross in the past in January.
Yes.
I would almost be tempted, if you can offload some players, Ashley Barnes maybe, maybe Angus, throw that into the mix.
Well, Angus isn't going to leave in January.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that there's options.
No, don't put that into the room because he's not leaving in January.
I'm just saying there might be options to get rid of a few.
Right.
I would almost rather that than bring players in. Ultimately, are we going to get promoted this season? I think it's unlikely. Let's have a bit of dose of realism. I think it's unlikely. So I would almost rather just try and find your way into summer. Don't do much in January, and then have a real rebuild. I wouldn't be mad if they go into January and go...
Look, I know where you've come from there, but again, let's remember now that the Yanks are in town. And this is the window where they need to step up.
So you think we're going to go big?
No, well, look, I agree with all your comments about the January window. I agree. I totally agree. But this isn't and I know there's always something, and there's always an excuse, or there's always, it's never normal. I get that. But really, Jack, look at where the squad is at. Look at the amount of players that we've got out of contract in the summer.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to do more in January than you've just alluded to. I think they're going to have to. I don't think they have a choice. And it's very easy to say, oh, well, don't worry, because Sargent's coming back, McLean's coming back, yada, yada, yada. But I think the list, forgive me for forgetting, I'm tired, as I said earlier. It might be 6 or maybe even 8 players are out of contract in the summer. Angus could sign a pre-contract with someone in January that's outside of England, right? And then you've got George Long in goal, by the way, 3-year contract. I think we're going to have to bring in players in January, right? And as well, right? There's all this talk of, that's fine. You let Barnes do it. There's all this talk of letting this player go. You get rid of him, But actually, you can't just get rid of players because then all of a sudden you're on your arse if anyone gets injured, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But what I like is the Emi Marcondes case study.
Yeah.
And I think, hang on a fucking minute. We've managed to find a diamond in the rough, literally, Hibs. We've managed to find a real diamond in Emi Marcondes, right? And I think, okay, so if we can sign a player on a free like Emi Marcondes, what could we do in January with actually a bit of investment, a bit of money as well?
No, I get it.
But I agree with your point. It will be overpriced, but I think they're going to have to overpay for some players.
Yeah, no, I get it. It will be. I'm really intrigued to see how they go about business.
Yeah,
I really am. I think they need a striker.
Yes,
they definitely need a striker. They need. Yeah, they do. I think Kay Gordon will go back to Liverpool.
Yes.
So I think you need a decent quality winger. I think you probably need another central midfielder.
Yeah, but how many times have we said that?
We can't be relying on Sorensen. One, because he's not good enough, and two, he's never fit.
I don't think we'll sign a defender, but probably now. Maybe we probably will. I don't know.
I don't think we need a defender. This is a good one.
Here's one for you.
Yeah.
Here's what I think we're going to do. I think we're going to sign a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
In January. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I've got a strong feeling about that.
Not mad about it.
Yeah.
This is good from Chris Kemp.
Come on.
A festive theme.
Hello, Chris. Merry Christmas.
At the moment, we're like a tub of celebrations. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
It's either a Galaxy, prime, Hoffball, melts in your mouth and you win.
Like that, yeah.
Or you get a bounty. Near enough game over before it started, especially away from home. Taste rank.
Right, right. Put some respect on Bounty's name, is what I will say. I like the analogy, though. It's Snickers for me. You've got no interest in Snickers. You can't go... By the way, do you know
I love Snickers.
Do you know what I'm furious about? Right, I'm still not over this. It happened almost 10 years ago now. Remember in the celebrations, you used to get those truffles?
Yeah, I remember them well.
What happened to the truffles? The truffles were the most elite chocolate in the celebrations tub. And they were taken away. And I don't think I've ever recovered from that in my life.
So please don't take my truffle away.
There's a good analogy.
Yeah. I hate Bounty.
Ashley says, I don't get all the unnecessary Barnesy stick. All of a sudden, give the guy a break, in my opinion.
You know what I thought was... and this was utter woke nonsense yesterday.
Come on then.
Burnley fans going absolutely mental when Barnes came on the pitch. Yeah, get it, right? You like Ashley Barnes, whoop-de-doo, right? Save it for the end. What if he'd have scored?
Well, I do think it. Yeah,
It was mental.
But what it was. Well, do you know what? I agree.
They were going ballistic.
What it does say is actually he's a legend at Burnley.
Oh yeah, no, I love Ashley Barnes.
But it shows just how much of a legend he was. Right, let me put the
But
let
when
me put the bit on the other foot.
When Holty came back,
we didn't clap
first
until
time
the
he
end.
replied, came back to Canaries was with Huddersfield.
Yes, I remember.
And we were beating them 5-0.
Yeah.
I didn't clap him when he came on the pitch.
Well, I don't.
I did at the end. I gave him an absolutely lovely rendition.
Yeah.
But not when he was a Huddersfield player against us.
But
up against Michael Turner.
But linking back to Ashley Snelling's point, right? It actually does show
woke nonsense.
The amount of respect that Burnley fans have for Ashley Barnes. It also shows where Ashley's at Norwich City. I think it's been a real shame to see how it's, I guess you could say, inevitably ending for Ashley at Norwich City. It was never meant to play out like this. He was brought in to play with Josh Sargent. We've only seen that a short number of times. It's kind of funny actually, because Ashley Barnes and Josh Sargent are absolute best mates at Norwich City, but yet they've barely played. Like, they really have barely played really, and and the games that we saw it, you lump it long to Ashley. He controls the ball. He plays it off for Josh Sargent to run on. We only saw that a limited number of times. It wasn't meant to end like this for Ashley. I feel sorry for Ashley, but one thing I can really make so clear to the Norwich fans watching, listening to this: Ashley Barnes has given and will give everything to this football club, and he loves Norwich City. And I know that fans will respond to this going, "Oh, that doesn't matter, Chris." No, it does. And I think some of the abuse, some of the personal stuff that's been said to Ashley at the minute is a real shame. You have to remember, like, when a player that is of his age gets injured, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. I mean, don't forget what we said on our watch along. I thought about retiring. It's really tough. I was pleased to see Ashley come back. He's come back into some real difficult situations as well. Look, am I saying that Ashley Barnes is the saviour and can he can't do it alone? I totally get that, but I agree with Ashley's point. Give the guy a break. It's just one of those situations, Jack, of it is what it is with Ashley, right? He's where he's at in his career. He is where he's at with his contract. He was signed under a different manager, under a different regime. He's not playing with Josh Sargent ever. He's playing in a completely different style of football. I think I just feel a bit sorry for Ashley Barnes, to be honest with you.
I saw the link to Sheffield United and I just thought, genius from Sheffield United. Exactly the type of player they need. They're in the automatic promotion hunt.
Yeah.
They ultimately, if Ashley Barnes goes to Sheffield United, he'll probably get the odd 5-minute cameo here and there. But he gets a move back north. Probably, won't have to spend out too much. He's probably on the decent sized salary, but not for Sheffield United. Will come in and really rally a dressing room. He's been there, he's seen it.
And I think they need experienced players, don't they?
And actually, it's funny when you're in this situation and you've got the likes of Forson and Schwartau and Kellen Fisher, and when you're a Norwich fan, you're going, God, it'd be great to have some Championship experience in. Well, Ashley Barnes is that. He's 35. He's done it before. Yeah. Is he cut out for starting Championship games of football for Norwich City? Probably not. But that was never meant to be his role. His role was meant to be, in a part of a two, or just what's the hipster way? Like a cultural enforcer. Is that what
you called it? Architect, didn't you?
Cultural architect. Like, that's what he's meant to be doing. And I think I'm almost hoping he does get his move to Sheffield United. I think it'd be really good for him. I think it'd be really good for Sheffield United. Yeah. I really like Ashley Barnes.
Well, one of the things that
But he's not gonna run the line for you,
Well, one of the things I do understand as of this time of recording is that it's not just Sheffield United in for Ashley Barnes, right? There's a handful of clubs that are interested in getting his signature. Yeah. So going back to Ashley's point, Ashley on Ashley. Going back to Ashley's point, let's put a bit of respect on Ashley Barnes' name, all right? Just kind of let's put a bit of empathy into the situation here. And by the way, there's a number of players at the minute that are getting some real harsh criticism where I'm like, calm down.
And I think ultimately, will Ashley Barnes want to be playing in this system? Probably not. I remember when, Holty was here and Chris Hughton was trying to get him to play with a certain role. Holty said many times he hated it.
Yeah.
Like there are certain systems that, Ashley Barnes, a 35-year-old, doesn't want to be, really pressing as a forward. It's not his system. So look, Ashley Barnes, again, he's not the problem. I must hope he goes to Sheffield United.
Right, just linked to this point because it is linked and then we'll move away from it. Roro at orange_fever has said, complaint. Seen a lot of attitude towards O'Neill, Barnes and a lot of the bench the last few games. Why are we bashing on the players who get 15 minutes to somehow change the game with minimal chances they get and nothing towards those that play 80 minutes and done nothing? Do you know what, Roro? I think you're bang on, actually. I think it's very easy to target the players that are substitutes, but they are in the position they are.
Well, you were targeting poor old Cade Gordon earlier.
All right, fair enough. No, do you know what? Yeah, fair enough. I take that on board. No, I take that on board. He was particularly poor, though. I think people will agree with me on that one. But on the whole, I think Roro's right, actually.
Keep saying Roro.
Roro.
It's fun, yeah.
Roro.
Row your boat.
Those boys that Johannes is opting to start games of football, that's who it's really on. To be going overboard on players like Onel and Ashley, it's like, fucking hell,
Onel was good again.
Yeah.
Delivered 2 crosses that arguably one of them should have been finished.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. But I then also do understand the other side of the fence on it, which is that, and he'll say this too, but it didn't result in anything. Right, and that's the thing.
That's not his fault.
No. I agree. But we also need to praise when something comes off. Yeah. Right? I think that's fair, and that's not be criticising Onel. He'll say that himself. He'll be like, "Yeah, I know, but he didn't get anything with it, right?" So
I was laughing hearing Emi Marcondes' interview after the game, saying that he's not going to be able to sleep after his miss. You're not able to sleep, Emi. I wasn't able to sleep after that.
Let's talk about that, by the way, just quickly.
Really wanted him to score. It wasn't an easy chance, but it was a chance.
95th minute. It was the last kick of the game, wasn't it? And
you talk about fine margins, right? That hits the back of the net. Carrow erupts. And do you know what I found? And then it's a really good point.
And by the way, do you know what? If it falls to anyone in that team, aside from Borja Sainz, I want it to fall to Emi Marcondes. Cool as you like. He's been doing so well the last few games. Yeah. It's a shame, actually. But in a funny sort of way, with where the fans are at the moment, I'm kind of almost pleased. This sounds weird. If anyone's going to miss, also, I'm pleased that Marcondes missed it because then he's not going to get as much abuse.
And actually, I think he picked, hard and low. It was millimetres.
Yeah. I think he said it was centimetres, and
it was one of those. It was one of those you just wish it went in because you knew if that had hit the back of the net, we'd have had a moment.
I'm not. Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I'm not going to criticise Marcondes. Free signing, and I've said it time and time again.
He's been
great. His story, the things that boy's been through.
You love a story.
Yeah, I do.
Peter Skillen.
Go on. What's Skillen say?
He says, I've got my TNC Hoff hat. Oh no, I've got my TNC Hoff t-shirt on.
Ah, nice.
He says,
wait,
question.
Pause. TNCmerch.co.uk. Get your orders in.
Yeah, and I know many of you, because you're much like me, great people, but you will have left your Christmas shopping late.
Can you still get them on time for Christmas though?
Absolutely.
Can you actually?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I've not plugged it already.
Yeah, of course.
So if you order right now, you'll get it on time for Christmas.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, he says, question.
Come on.
This time last year, we were in a very similar position in the league. Do you think we can make the playoffs again? I think we can, especially when Kenny and Josh return. P.S. Love the podcast. Please mention Harry, my boy, who listens.
Hello, Harry.
He plays, by the way, it's a great name. He plays for the Chroma Crusaders.
Oh, what a name.
Check out his goal.
Okay. Oh, it's a lovely strike. Yeah, lovely strike.
The Chroma Crusaders.
Do you know what, Peter? Thank you for being a positive Peter.
Positive Peter.
A true positive Peter.
Spectacular Skillen.
Look, I have to admit, my optimism, my positivity has taken quite a major dent off the back of the last 2 before Burnley. Burnley didn't affect me as much as other people, seemingly, weirdly.
It's because you were in the prawn sandwich seats with your BBC boys. Probably a lovely lunch in the warm. Nice view.
Are you done?
How the other half live, eh?
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm really pleased Positive Peter has said that. Good old Skillen. I still think there's a slither of hope for the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, no, there is
I still think there's a sliver of hope because the rest of the league is so average. The teams are shite, mate.
But that's what it always is in the Championship.
And by the way, despite the fact that we've done what we've done over the last 3, after Sunderland away, yeah, Millwall at home, well, they've just had to change their manager. Yeah, quite fancy a bit of that. And by the way, QPR at home, big game, big game, battle, absolute battle. Do you know what? I hope we absolutely smash them to smithereens. Then there's not a single game I want to win more this season than that now. And I never thought I'd say that against a club like QPR. Like what? Just the fact that we lost 3-0 to them is so embarrassing, right? And it's just really. It's really got me. It's really bored my piss, that performance. And what's bored me even more is the absolutely pathetic nature of that wimp that play acted, fucking Tom Daly style, and got Kenny banned.
So
do you know what? Do you know what? And people will give me.
You're angry.
People will give me abuse for this, but do you know what? I don't care. I actually fancy a bit. A bit of this now. Yeah, Kenny's come back against QPR. Yeah, target that young bloke that got you sent off. Target him. Target him. Absolutely clatter him. I hope Jose Cordoba in the second minute, yeah, absolutely bulldozes him off the ball. Kellen Crunch ×4. Yes, please. I want it all.
And then it's Luton.
Yeah. And by the way, I've seen people online go, "Oh, he's just an 18-year-old." It's the football. I'm gonna make it. Let's make that game really tough for them. Yeah. Let's boo him every time he gets on the ball. Boo him. There'll be people that watch this. Go, "Oh, he's just an 18-year-old." Oh, come on! It's the football. It's pantomime. It's entertainment. He's got our skipper banned.
Yeah.
In a pathetic nature. Let's go to war. Do you know what? And right, fucking. Do you know what? Seriously, I'm so up for this game. Right, I'm going to make a plea now to the football club. Right, some people do what.
This is make or break for your festive season.
Fuck, I'm so up for this game. I just, you
need to put a few quid in the swear jar after this.
Yeah, I do. I'm really sorry, but
sorry
it's
to everyone watching. I
just
don't know what's come about you today.
It's just how I feel.
Potty mouth.
I'm sorry for swearing. I'm not that sorry about that one thing. Right, Norwich City Football Club, please get me in the changing room pre-QPR, and I will get those players to go to war for you. I
think Big Glenn will be doing that. Don't you worry.
I agree.
Do you know what I keep forgetting?
Come on.
That Jack Wilshere is a coach at Norwich City.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him on the bench with Santa, right, and Big Glenn, and I've turned to Craigo. And I've gone, what's Jack Wilshere doing? Oh yeah, no, he's a coach. That is so weird.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those that we'll look back on in sort of 10 years and go,
that was
that time
random.
when Jack Wilshere was so weird.
Yeah. I mean,
and you didn't answer that. You went on a rant there. You said that we've got a good chance after Sunderland.
Right. So
then you started bullying an 18-year-old.
Yeah, sorry. Millwall at home, QPR at home, back to back. Yeah, win both of those. Come on.
And then it's Luton.
Away.
Yeah.
Tough, but again, should win.
But this, there is a small slither. I must say, probably first to fourth place is pretty much set. Sheffield United, Leeds, Burnley, Sunderland.
But the picture looks different. Right, just come on. Hang on. Sorry to interrupt you.
Guess who was seventh?
Let's
by the way?
eke out a draw against Sunderland. Against Sunderland somehow. I don't think we will. I think we're going to lose.
They've
that
not
game.
been in the best form recently.
I think we're going to lose that game. But anyway, let's try and desperately get a draw against Sunderland.
Yeah.
And then if you win Millwall and QPR, the picture does change.
But I think
because then all of a sudden Joshy Sargent's not far away. Hello.
No, I think you're right. I think we're 8 points off the top 6. That's a fair gap. But I think what we'll have for the rest from now until the end of the season are these more of the same. You have a couple of home games in a week, don't you?
You win both of them.
And then you're like, and then I don't know who's after Luton.
Well, don't bother looking.
And then you after that. Yeah, but look at this. Then,
do it to yourself.
Then you get to mid-January.
Right, come on.
Sheffield United away, Leeds away.
2 losses in a row.
So then you're back to going, everything's miserable again. I think,
and we will be.
The theme of this podcast, patience. I think we're heading in the right direction. I think we've got good people at the football club. It's just going to take a bit of time.
Yes.
A couple of transfer windows and a little bit of luck along the way. Just enjoy the ride, people.
That's very good advice, Jack.
Thank you.
Enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Everyone in life should learn to enjoy a good ride. Benji says, rant. Hoff's in-game management is very poor. Second half, we fell apart again and invited Burnley onto us. Gave them the 3 points. What's your reaction to that, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were. I think the game that's. I disagree.
Okay.
I'll start with that. I disagree.
Right, fine.
I don't think that's.
You're allowed to disagree.
I think the reason that his in-game management seems to be slightly below par is just the options he's got off the bench. I look back to the Cardiff game. That stands out. 1-0, 89th minute, lose the game. We had to bring Gabe Forsyth started. No, nothing against Gabe Forsyth, but he wouldn't be starting usually. I think we had to bring Grant Hanley on. It's not like he's got a Burnley bench or a Sheffield United bench or a Leeds bench. He's having to really, work this, and I don't think that's necessarily on Johannes. I think he's learning. Look, he's far from perfect, and there will be moments where you go, oof, I don't know about that, but he's learning. I think we're progressing. I completely understand if people are like, well, this is no better than David Wagner. The form's no better. We're not in a better position in the table. I just think there's, in that first half against Burnley, I think, there were moments where you go, this is what we're trying to build.
Yeah.
And actually, when it's working, God, it's good.
Yeah.
I think with a couple of transfer windows, a bit of time, a bit of money,
and
his own people, I think then we'll start to see the real Johannes.
And it is a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, I get that. Just maybe...
Do you think his in-game management's poor?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I don't know what else he'd do.
But look, if we had more quality on the bench to bring on, and then he was getting timings wrong, and then if he went defensive, then I would say yeah. But actually, there's been times this season where he's brought on his subs early enough to impact the game. By the way, not within 5 minutes to go, and they have changed the game. And I've gone fair fucking play actually, because of those offensive attacking substitutions, the game's flipped on its head, and we've actually. Do you know what the one I'll highlight? Sheffield United at home, where we could have actually nicked that game. Yeah. We really bought it to them, and I thought, fucking hell, here we go. And under David Wagner, we just parked the bus and hope for the best. There's a player that somehow we've not spoken about in this podcast, Jack, and I think it's really important that we talk about him. Oscar Schwartau.
We have talked about him.
Well, let's talk about him more. Right?
He's good. I'll tell you what was really telling.
He started out on the right wing. Right, and people raised their eyebrows at it, and I liked it, Jack. I'll tell you the reason why I liked it. At the minute, because of confidence levels, we're not necessarily in a position where the midfield are playing the ball in front of the wingers. So, on the left-hand side, Borja Sainz is picking the ball up deep in our half and progressing it. He's taking on 1-2 players, etc. He's maybe bringing it in centrally more often than not. He cuts it in centrally and takes it past 2 before he gives it out centrally again, right? On the other side, we've not been doing that, right? Oscar Schwartau did that against Burnley. There was some criticism for him, which I thought was really harsh, actually, considering he's, 18, 19 years old. I was really impressed with Oscar.
I was.
And I like his physicality.
Yeah.
I like, he's technical. He can use both feet.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of an aerial presence. I was really actually quite happy with Oscar Schwartau's performance, and I want him out on the right wing.
I like it.
I think Johannes has found a bit of a solution there for the next few games until the end of the January transfer window.
I'll tell you the other thing I loved. A lot of defensive work.
Yeah. And
actually, after 70 minutes he was shattered, and rightly so. He put some work in. But we've not seen that, when Forson's been in right wing, and actually, again, young player, and actually, when he's been in the right wing, has been quite effective. So I'm not disagreeing.
Has he?
Well, the games he played, we looked really good in. But with Amankwa, defensive duties, no chance.
Well, that's my point. Yeah,
with Oscar, he was doing that really well. And last week I watched the under-21s on the YouTube stream playing. Were they against PSV or something? And they won 2-0.
Yeah.
Oscar Schwartau was one of the youngest players for either team.
Yeah.
So far above anyone.
Oh, obviously,
miles above anyone else.
He's going to be a hell of a player. I actually already think he's a really good player. And Johannes has, I think, said publicly that he didn't expect to get him to get as many minutes as he has.
Well, yeah.
I hope he gets more minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
And I don't know. Maybe people will agree. Maybe people will disagree. Let us know in the comment section on Oscar Schwartau. For me, I like Schwartau. People are saying he's not ready yet. Do you know? I think he is. I actually think he is. I like what he bought. I'm really, really excited about Oscar Schwartau. I think he's going to be a fantastic player, really good recruitment, really switched on. You can see he's really intelligent. There was a lovely moment down the right-hand side towards the end of the game as well, where he had absolutely no right to do this.
Yeah, I remember.
Facing back facing away from the goal, nutmegs.
Yeah, I remember it.
Nutmegs the defender, and then just didn't quite get the cross there.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, yeah, really smart,
Yeah.
really intelligent. So yeah, big up Oscar Schwartau.
Couple of other pointers, small points on Schwartau.
Cool.
Love saying his surname,
Schwartau,
very satisfying. Don't love the pink boots. Don't think he's a pink boots man.
Hang on, you can't have that. I mean, I understand
He's not a
you're
pink boots
weird.
man.
You have got a bit of a weird sock fetish, but
Well, Marcelino, if he'd have pulled his socks up, he might have been facing the right way for their free kick. That's all I'm saying. I think that's enough for this week.
Yes, it is.
It's Sunderland on Saturday. That's a biggie.
And
then it's Christmas.
Yes, and this is our last podcast before Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
We hope that we somehow I hope that Norwich City bring us some festive cheer.
And I hope you wake up on Christmas morning with a stocking full of black dog tea.
Yep.
A Borja Science t-shirt.
TNCmerch.co.uk.
A case of Lakens.
20% off in the description.
And one of these Norwich City shirts. And if you get all of those, you've ticked the TNC QVC bingo card. What are you
Thank
up
you very
to
much.
for Christmas?
What am I up to for Christmas? At home, in-laws around.
Awesome.
I really need Christmas.
Yeah.
The Canaries have really taken it out of me, so I really need a good turkey.
Good. Thanks for watching, everyone. Merry Christmas. We will see you very soon.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.